I'd like to call this meeting of Timberville Town Council order, January 13, 2022. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay, council received December's minutes in your packet. I'm sure everyone's had a chance to review them. Are there any questions, changes, amendments at this time? And if not, we need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Debbie. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Natalie. We'll go around. Any further discussion? Okay, go around the room. Ned?
Yes.
Natalie?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Treasurer's report. Everyone received a copy of the treasurer's report with all the balances, along with the phase 2 of the park spreadsheet. Any questions for a treasurer in reference to those two? Okay. You also received a copy of the bills for payments. Any questions on any of the bills for AC, Chief, or Melinda? Okay, I need a motion, folks.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
Thank you, Sharon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Natalie. Any further discussion? Around the room. Ned?
Yes.
Natalie?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, Chief, floor is yours.
I guess the big thing to bring up is some grant activity that's going on. Sergeant Hook has taken the initiative to apply for some grants. We got information about a radio grant from Dayton, or a grant that could be used for that. Dayton helped write the initial grant, and then we kind of took over from there. So the radio system that we have, as far as the towers and the relays and all that, stay in place, but the actual portable radios that the officers are carrying have a lot of dead spots, meaning there's places that they just do not receive or transmit well. Motorola has been tested and works considerably better on this system. So unfortunately, we're replacing radios that are not very old, but it's an officer safety issue. And other agencies are making that change right now. So fortunately, 3/4 of that will be paid for by grant, and we have to pay 25% match, which works out to be $5,052. So that's $52 above my discretionary spending. So we'll need to ask the council to approve that. The other two, one's a grant, one's a donation, is a medical grant that will cover emergency gear to go in the car. We all have basic first aid, what is used to be called combat casualty care, taught by the military. There's a different version, civilian version, deal with traumatic injuries due to gunshots, but also any traumatic injury like a car wreck or something like that, where we're there prior to EMS or fire getting there. And we have 2 EMTs that work for us, and we have another one who is a first aid instructor, CPR instructor, who has more training than that, but I don't think he ever finished his EMT. So we do have some people that have some good medical training, and it's approximately a $3,000 grant, a little under that there's no match for it. So we'll have the same equipment in all the vehicles for that. The last one is actually not a grant, it's a donation, and we've had several incidents happen in town where we were looking for either victims or suspects in the dark, and we called on the fire department, local fire department, Timberville Fire Department, used handheld infrared, which worked okay, except you have to call them out of bed to get it. And there's another incident where we used a drone from Harrisburg and Rackham County Fire Service. So they came out, put drones up, they have infrared, which is great because it's overhead. You can see a lot more. But it brought the need to have a handheld IR infrared available. But it's they're about $3,000 to $3,500 a piece, and that seemed like a lot to ask out of a budget for an item like that. So Jeremy reached out to a contact that he has at Pilgrims, and Pilgrims is coming through to pay for that piece of equipment, so there's no matching. So we're able to do more, get more, have better equipment, and make people safer. And a lot of times we're being able to do it through partnerships and through grants. We're also sending 3 of the officers will go to a 2-day criminal interdiction training over in West Virginia. Interdiction, primarily think of drugs on the interstate, tractor trailers full of cigarettes or cocaine from the 80s, but you use those skills even in smaller agencies. They're doing it now to find illegal activities, stolen guns, stolen cars, drugs, that kind of thing. And the officers that we have now seem to have a real natural knack for that, so the training will help with that. All that training will be paid for by seized drug money, so there's no direct cost to us, so to speak. So the only thing that I would have is asking for council's approval to spend $50.52 for the matching money.
50-52?
Yes, sir.
$5,052?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion so he can go ahead and spend the $5,052?
I make a motion.
A second?
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion? Go over to Nick?
Yeah.
Adam?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Public Works AC, I know Chris had a very long list. Do you have some updates you want to go over?
Yeah, just a few things. We'll start off with Granny Smith. I try to keep council updated on the situations up there. Been working with Quentin, trying to get the warrants to do inspections, and I actually made contact with the one property that's a real concern. Made contact with that property owner yesterday. I found the number for that person, and so talked to her for a while. They have moved out several other tenants to get those numbers down. They have one more that they're going to have out by the end of this month, and that will bring them down. Should bring them down in compliance with the occupancy limits. And she was very. Her mother is the one who actually lives on the premises, and then has the other people in there. She's out of the area, so she says she's trying to educate her mother on what is and what isn't acceptable. So she seems responsible, and she invited me to go up, and she said I was more than welcome to go in. So she comes up, I think, once a month to check on things. So I'm going to try to connect with her, and she'll take me in. We can do a consensual inspection that way without having to get a warrant. So we are working on it, and hopefully things are improving out there. And I've been in contact with some of the residents who have had some of the biggest issues too. That are neighbors to some of these residences. Water leak, kind of updated y'all a little bit on that already, but we did find the water leak finally this evening or this afternoon about 3:30ish. When I left the site, we went out and cut down as many of the small trees as we could, and there's a huge tree that is over top of the line. And the water was truly just flowing out. We were very fortunate on that line to have 2 valves that we could isolate it, and so we only have somewhere between 10 and 15 residences that are turned without water right now on Daisy and Daffodil Lane. So we were very fortunate on that because we had to cut off at Main Street and back at the filtration plant, which would have taken the entire Orchard Drive section out. So the residents without services right now is minimal. When I left the site out there, we had to call in Keller Tree Service to take down this tree because it was beyond what we have capability to do with our resources. And we've also called in Alger's Excavation to help us uncover the line because it's down across the guardrail between Main Street and Big Al's. There's the small culvert bridge there, and then the guardrail, and it's down across that. So our equipment, we have some kind of big equipment, but nothing big enough that can get that reach to get down to where we can set the equipment to get down far enough, because it's going to be down, that line goes under the creek somewhere too, so we know it's really deep there. So that's why we called them in, and they have those pieces of equipment that they can work well with.
And that's great they could respond that quickly.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to have Keller's come out that quick and to have Alger's come out that quick.
So they're working on it right now?
They're on it right now, and as soon as the meeting's over with, I'll head back out there. We're hoping, I think the hope is to be done by midnight. So we'll see. You know, it's getting kind of chilly out there right now. So,
He said all 4 full-time people are out there.
Yeah, well, I saw the lights on the
Yeah.
building, they're still, yeah. So I knew they were still busy.
The RFP for the police department design and remodel, those are due next Wednesday. So whenever we get those in, we'll get council updated on that, and have the public works, police committee, whoever we need to meet, and come back with a recommendation for council.
Let's take Ryan, police committee, let's go with that.
Okay. One thing I kind of forgot about was the boat launch. You know, we've submitted the paperwork for the permit for the boat launch down at the park,
Yeah.
and I just haven't heard anything. And so I thought about it today, so I emailed the gentleman that I was in contact with, and he said he just got behind, so he said he should have an answer for us in the next couple of weeks as to, I guess, whether we're getting the permit or not.
I hope we can.
And the final thing, the building demolition cost for the building at the corner of Church and Main Street, the total on that came in currently at $76,765. That was attorney's fees, inspections that we had done prior, and the demolition of the actual building. So we had budgeted 80 for it. Yeah. So.
Can't get much closer than that.
And I think that's everything. We've had plenty going on.
Oh, it's been a mess. It's been a lot going on. And you make sure I'm sure you all do, make sure you thank Chris and them, because they were really frantic today trying to find that water leak, and for them to be able to find with how many miles of water lines we have, for them to be able to find that in a matter of 3/4 of a day or so is awful.
And Chris mentioned several times when I was talking to him this evening, he said, and over the past day, he said the SCADA system has been a lifesaver. The information that they're getting from the SCADA system on the tank levels and kind of what the hydraulics are doing in the water system has really helped them out with trying to narrow down this. And I think that's part of that. That goes into that's one of the variables goes into why they were able to find it so quickly.
He said he turned off one major valve, and when he did it, the one tank went down, the other tank went up. So he just narrowed it down. Then he turned off another valve, the one tank would go up, so he very quickly figured. It was losing like 150,000 gallons a minute. 150 gallons a minute, excuse me, 150 gallons a minute.
Yeah.
It's a lot of water.
So basically what the well was producing, because we had the well and the spring one, and so what the well was producing was what we were losing in the leak. So it was just a matter of trying to maintain those levels.
Right. Well, they did a great job.
They have done a great job.
Any questions for AC or anything about Public Works? Okay. Business and industry. Anything to report on business and industry? You might have something on that too, AC, do you? I know you talked about this getting cleaned up back here, and someone's possibly looking at renting.
Yeah, there's, as I mentioned before, the planning commission preliminarily blighted the warehouse property back here, and they have made some massive headway in cleaning up that property. They got rid of all the trees on the property, chipped them up, taken the awnings off the building. I can't remember what I told you last meeting or not. The contractor who's doing all that work is giving the new owner, a proposal on fixing up the building to use or to demolish it. And then they're going to go from that, because obviously that building has some issues with the roof and apparently the second floor. There is a local business who's interested in renting some of the space in the great big white warehouse for a retail space. And if I'm working with them to see if they, everything that they need is they can do, but there's quite a few things going on with that they need to figure out before they can actually commit to move it in there. But it would be a nice showroom for this business if they can pull it off. Okay. And it's not a business that's currently in town. It's close to town, but it's not currently in the town lines. So.
Any update on the Evans lot?
We've got I got a call from the county yesterday. asking about demolition permits. We typically just give a verbal to the county and one saying, yes, it's okay to demolish that, so that's what they were calling for. So the demolition permit, I'm assuming, has been issued since we gave the approval for it. So we should see something start on that soon.
Awesome. Okay, anyone else have anything on business? Anybody? Okay, Parks and Rec. Everybody saw Chris's update. I think the only real change we've had in Parks and Rec is the new roof on the last of our shelters. That is complete. There's some other small stuff that's going to get done. They've got ordered the cameras, correct?
Yes.
They ordered the cameras, the security cameras for the well, the parks, the PD, the town office. I think we've basically paid half the bill. They've ordered all the equipment. And they're going to be doing that in February? Is that what we're thinking? Or we don't know yet?
I don't know that we have a time frame on that.
Maybe it's me hoping it's February. Okay. That's all I have for Parks and Rec. Finance, AC?
We'll start in the budget process here at some point. I guess we'll have to do it. We won't be able to do it when things slow down because we'll never get it done if we wait for things to slow down. So we'll just have to force something in there somewhere.
Okay. Then I'd say we do what we did the last time. You do a level budget. Just how it is, we just pay what we have to pay, and then we'll go from there like they normally do, and we can add on to it and figure out what's going on. But I guess at one point we're going to have to do, since the real estate values went up, and by state law we can only go up 1% without a public hearing, we're going to have to work through that too once we figure out what the real increase is.
Right.
So we'll have to go from there. What else? Personnel?
Well, like I put in the memo, we're going to be advertising for the contract position. It's another thing I probably need to get with Quentin on. For the next couple of years to work on the smaller water and sewer projects and use that labor instead of contracting out every single little project. Much more efficient use of the money.
Right. Okay. You need a lot more done for that. Mm-hmm. Okay, Plains District Memorial Museum. Sharon, you got something for us?
The month of December, we had 46 visitors, 90 volunteer hours, 110 membership, and the new exhibit is going up next week. Welcome to Western Plains District.
Oh, there you are.
But nobody asked me where Western Plains District was.
Where is Western Plains District?
Because I even had to ask. I mean, I knew some of them.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is Western?
Fox Run, Coots's Store, Brock's Gap, Crider's, Burton, Yankeetown, Genoa, and Hopkins Gap. I got 4 out of them.
All of them. I wouldn't have got 4, so
Yeah, you would.
you did pretty good. You ready?
I guess so.
I think AC's going to be taking a picture.
I came in past the water leak while ago. It looked like Christmas there with all the lights blinking up and down the road. All right, on January 13th, 1912, 15 or 20 townspeople were skating on the river below the bridge. The temperature dropped to 15 degrees below zero while they were skating. At 1:30 on this night, the temperature was 20 degrees below zero at the Miller Jones Store. That's down on Main Street, of course. And if you get to think about it, that is exactly 110 years ago, right now to the minute. 110 years ago, these people were down on the river skating. That's pretty neat, isn't it? That we know things like that. On January 22nd, 1904, a literary society meeting was originated and was given the name Timberville Literary Society. January 14th, 1910, Hillier, a noted magician, gave a performance at the old schoolhouse tonight for the benefit of the brass band. Proceeds amounted to $27. January 7th, 1910, Literary Society meeting tonight. The debate was, iron is more serviceable to mankind than gold. The judges decided in favor of the affirmative side. Or in that case, iron overruled gold. August 1st, 1904, the Byers Hoover and Company started. That was on the left-hand side of the old bank building, where all the restaurants have been over the years. February 1902, the Timberville Lodge of the Oddfellows was organized. They used to meet in the upstairs floor of the old Minnick store building there on Main Street. August 4th, 1947, the New Method Dry Cleaners opened. 1952, the Shin Valley Meat Packers employees went on strike. January 1943, a windstorm blew down the bell tower from the top of the school. And that's where you see some pictures, people will argue that the school never did have a bell on it. And then other people, it blew down and
Blew off.
Yeah, and then they took the bell down, then the tower blew off.
Now, do you ever recall seeing the river freeze up?
See what?
The river freeze up. Do you ever?
Oh yeah, we used to stay down there all the
In
time.
my 30 couple of years, I've never seen it freeze up.
I went down, I used to get in nicely doing
Right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that one year. We went down and stayed above the bridge, and
I didn't want to ask at first because you said it was 110 years ago, so I didn't want to ask you if you had.
that's all I have.
Okay, we come to other business. Does council have anything else to talk about right now? I have, where is it? Election season's coming around again, and since we've moved up to the population we have, if you're interested in running again this year, and I think it's this side of the table is up for election. AC has an email he can forward you, or you can get it from the registrar, but it's got the information on what you got to fill out and the forms you got to get signed. So if you plan on running, just get a hold of AC. I think you have to have it in sometime in June. I don't want to give a date because I'll probably be wrong. June 21st or something like that. But you can start gathering signatures now if you'd like. So AC can forward that if you want to get it, or you go to the registrar. I know some people go to the registrar directly. And that's all I have for other business. Anyone else? Okay, public comment. We've got a couple people here. Anybody want to make a comment? Okay.
Well, this isn't a real comment, but you might want to add to your museum information that there's going to be a presentation on the 23rd by Pat.
Yeah, it is.
What is that? What is that?
It's going to be a presentation of the history of the Western Plains District by Pat Turner.
Awesome.
Pat Turner Richard.
Okay.
Barnett and Lynn Turner's daughter.
And no more public comment. Then our thank you.